Hey everybody, Mark Johnson here, founder and creative director of Able Ape Studios, back again with another book review. And like I always start about most of my book reviews, I just kind of give you a little background about how I came about finding this book to read as a selection. And I had gotten this book, again, this is another book I had purchased a while back, and kind of got a chance to read it and gave it another read, another fresh read with new eyes, with some time in between to kind of see if it's held up. And this book was published in about 2003, and so that's been, again, about 15 years ago. And so a lot of the reasons why I'm reading these books, going back and reading these books, is to see if they are still relevant in this day and time. I think when this book was published, I think that it was timely in the sense that, there was a, I don't know how you want to say it, but a renaissance in man. I know nowadays men are getting a tough rap with the situation of things going on in the world today, but more in a sense, it's just the bad type of man. The bad dudes are kind of really causing a tough situation for the rest of us. But when I originally read this book, it was more or less to help me. Again, I was a young dude, trying to find my way in the world, and wanted to get a sense of, my own personal style, and what would be, how would you would say, the standard, or some kind of a standard to having and becoming a good man, and a more well-rounded man. And so the book that I'm talking about is The Metrosexual's Guide to Style. It's funny that at one point that there was, had to be a name to kind of describe this type of man. And when they say metrosexual, they're talking about the man that is his style, his way about him, the way he carries himself is important to him. And so I think one of the things that was interesting to me at one point was they talked about men getting manicures and pedicures. Not every man goes that far, but there are men that do that, and maybe it may be a gay guy, maybe it's not. I think metrosexual was geared to men who weren't gay, so they cared about the way they look, and they wanted to look good and dress well and be able to be more well-rounded, more than just their physical appearance. They want to be well-traveled, they want to be well-versed in reading and in art. They wanted to have information on things like wine, how to select wine, how to select the right shoes, the right suit, all these kind of different things. How to have a nice apartment set up, not just have like road signs and movie posters on your wall, those kind of things. And so that's what this book is about. It kind of gives you just a primer. It doesn't go very deep in much of the topics, but they kind of touch a lot of different things. Mainly the things I just talked about. About personal style. Being well-rounded as it pertains to art. Having something to be able to talk about. Outside of sports. The guy things. Muscle cars and motorcycles and those kind of things. And not that those things are bad, but those are things that are not necessarily things you can talk about in mixed company 100% of the time, or even in company where it's maybe it's more geared to women. So it gives you an opportunity to kind of have something to talk about that is more than just dude talk. I think it also was a good primer into wine. I think wine has blown up into this industry that everyone was talking about the last bottle of wine they bought and purchased and that kind of thing. And it gives you that root, that sense or that sensibility to go into a restaurant, give you that confidence to be able to say, gives you the routine. You ask the sommelier to kind of maybe suggest a bottle of wine. If you do decide to purchase a bottle of wine, to smell the cork, to kind of go through that. All that can you can learn all that if you go to like on a a vineyard trip, and or tour, a Napa tour to the vineyards and kind of do that. Or if you go to a museum, we're talking about art now, you can kind of get that same kind of thing, and that's what they suggest throughout this book. They talk about dressing, things that the metrosexual man basics has in his closet, and maybe some pieces that you kind of purchase to be able to mix and match with certain other things, but maybe spend a little bit more money on these type of items compared to like what your basics would be, like your t-shirts, your jeans, the tennis shoes, or your dress shoes, those kind of things, and kind of be able to mix and match and create a good looking outfit. So these are the things that you would learn in the Metrosexual's Guide to Style. Again, when I first read it, I was definitely looking for something like that. It gave me the confidence to be able to, talk about wine outside of being, a wine connoisseur. I was already into the art, so that kind of was something that I was already doing, but it made me want to be even that much more involved in it. I wouldn't consider myself a metrosexual, but I think the term is outdated, obviously, currently. But I think the information in the book is good, and I think any young dude coming up, I would say about high school age, going into college, to read this book would be great. I wouldn't say you had to read it. If that's something that you want to do, kind of upgrade your style and your sensibility as a man, I think this book will be a great read. It's not that long. It's kind of funny in some parts, and I think it breaks down their examples of what a metrosexual man does. Again, the term metrosexual is kind of outdated, but if we're sticking to what the book describes it as, that's what you're going with. But I think men in general kind of would benefit them as well. Older men, obviously, if you're that old that you can kind of remember World War One or maybe World War Two, maybe it's kind of past. You're probably past that, but for a young man, high school, going to college, maybe college age, because I think that's when I picked this book up, is college age. It could help you. It could help you in some ways that can kind of make you a more well-rounded man. And so, in that vein, I would suggest it. Again, I'm not subscribing to the metrosexual view currently, but I think the information in this book is very helpful, and it could help any young man out there, or even a man in their 40s, or even a little bit older. So that's my review for Metrosexual, the Man's Guide to Style. And if you like this review, definitely give it a thumbs up, and if you like what I'm doing on the channel, definitely leave a comment in the comment box below and subscribe. And yeah, if you want to maybe even give me some feedback on what you felt about this book, maybe you've read it or you've read books like it, definitely leave me a comment in the comment box below. Let me know how you felt about your read through it. Again, like I said, my first reading was years back, and now reading it or going back through now, it's like I said, the content is good. The content is definitely still timely. Maybe the word metrosexual is not necessarily geared to this day and time, but I think the information is good. So, like we always do at this time, have a blessed day. See you on the flip side. Let's go.